Yes, I only wear black shirts. That's the way it goes. In fact, most of my shirts are just plain black t-shirts. They have nothing on them. I save all the ones that have stuff on them for you. So there. Let's paint some goblins. Greetings, good humans, and welcome to Tabletop Alchemy, where sometimes we paint another batch of goblins. I'm so imaginative and creative with my opening lines here, aren't I? Yes, thank you very much. Throw the roses this way. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate it. And we thank our patrons for supporting weekly nonsense here on this channel. Well, we're getting stuff done. We're painting some miniatures. We're doing a batch of goblins. I already told you that in last week's video. And there's no reason I had to have a snap there to go to last week's video. It's whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. This is what you signed up for, just like I did. I don't actually know where I'm at in the painting process. This is a crazy meta one today because I'm recording this early. You can't tell. You can't tell that I look the same as I did in the last video. I changed my shirt, so you can't tell. Don't lie. Come on. Whatever. So yeah, honestly, I am recording this before I've finished painting the goblins to whatever state they are in for this video, which means if I actually finished them for this video, we're in trouble because I'm not going to talk about them being finished because I can't imagine at this point in time when I'm recording this right now, for me in the now, I can't imagine having these done for the next video. I was pretty sure it was going to take 2 videos to get them done. Anyway, what am I going to jabber about today while we look at some painting of the goblins here is just about having fun painting the miniatures. Like I said in the video last week, that I was kind of inspired to just paint something faster than how long it took me to paint that orc from the last video. And yeah, so these guys are just sort of fun, and I'm just sort of going at them with a brush and slinging some paint around. Now, I had kind of the first time I painted goblins, the first batch of these goblins from this group that I put together and primed up to get them ready to paint. I had a very specific color scheme in mind, so I am trying to mimic that color scheme or copy that color or stay within that color scheme. But I'm not actually, I just took a quick look at the ones that are in my display case that are finished, and I'm just kind of riffing on that. So I'm not trying to match them exactly because I'm just not going to stress about it. This is no stress, man. This is a no stress paint job here. So yeah, so the robes are definitely supposed to be like a lighter, like a light canvasy sort of color instead of like the traditional sort of GW, black cloaks or whatever. I'm just having fun with it. I know in the beginning, I set them up with a zenithal dry brush, and I'm never too happy with that process. It's never quite smooth enough for me, the way that I'm able to get a zenithal dry brush. I initially started on their robes with a very light colored express color from Vallejo, and then I kind of went back over it with a darker, more dense version or hue, again, of a Vallejo Express color. And then this is all for the robes to kind of make them a little darker, but then I assume that I've gone back and highlighted some and maybe put another wash on top. I don't actually know what I've done because I haven't done it yet. Over there I can see my unfinished goblins, even though you're looking at goblins over here that are in a future state. This is crazy. I went with just a flat or a straight, it's literally called orc green or whatever from Vallejo Express for their skin tones, which I know I didn't really do that exactly on the last batch. I don't actually remember how I did the last batch. So I decided I'm not going to go look at them and reference them and try to match. I'm just going to go off and use the vague idea of the color scheme that I had set up and just roll with it and just see what happens. Because again, no stress. I don't want any stress on this. I just want to paint these guys up because they're cool. These are fun goblins. And this particular batch, so, I put all these together from, I think they're from 2 or 3 different Underworlds, Warhammer Underworld sets. And definitely there's like the Zarbags, I don't know, the goblins that get high on mushrooms. I got those, and then maybe there's another box set of those. There's at least 2 box sets that I put together for this batch, this sort of large unit of goblins that I'm painting, right? When I pulled these particular models out to paint these, there happened to be the 2 Squigs and the Squig Riders. So I got to paint some Squigs. I kind of forgot they were on Squigs and had them. So I was like, oh, that's cool. A couple of Squigs. They're very easy to paint. Just put on some red express color. I used a couple different shades for the various little Squigs. I mean, there's the one Squig that's at the end of the one Gobbo's spear, which is pretty fun, and there's the Squig that's being like launched, sort of slingshot style, right, off that weird shield here that I don't know, you'll see it somewhere, I'm sure, that I've painted a little. There's like a big shield that one goblin's holding up and the other goblin's sitting on his shoulders. They're molded as one, like a single miniature piece. And then there's my favorite guy is the goblin that's drinking a potion while he's standing on top of the giant morning star that he's got, which is of course what are those called? Goblin fanatics, right, or whatever that used to be called. So there's like one of them. So anyway, so they're pretty fun. Also, this batch of goblins, not only did they have the Squigs and stuff going on, but there's quite a bit of armor going on, which I thought was kind of cool as well, because painting armor and robes is all pretty easy. I mean, generally speaking, it's not hard to do. I don't know what techniques, because at this point, when I look over at the table over there in the past, where I am, not where you are, I haven't painted the armor yet, so I'm not sure what technique I'm going to use, but I was imagining that I would probably go the same route that I went with that cannon on the orc from the last video, because I kind of like that weird shiny look. Again, like I said in the last video, I didn't like it necessarily. It was not necessarily correct for the cannon on the orc, which maybe should have been darker, but for these gobbos, I think it might be kind of a cool look. A little bit of that shiny, rusty thing going on, so I think that'll be kind of fun. And of course, all these bases are very mushroomy, a lot of mushrooms on the bases. The bases actually might take more work than the figures themselves, to be honest, if I want them to look really good. The physical act of putting paint on the miniature is fun for me. It's frustrating when the paint doesn't do what I think it's going to do, or that I don't put the paint in the right spot. That's over here. Over here is just the act of, putting paint on a miniature is just fun. I like doing it. The more that I'm getting more experience painting with the sort of contrast type colors, like Citadel Contrast or Vallejo Express Color, which is primarily what I've been using a lot lately, I'm realizing that I don't necessarily like the dry brush chop, slap chop type of finish underneath the colors. I just want it to be smoother. It's like it's really easy and fun to do because it's fast, but then I get into paint it and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like the way it looks. So I don't know. I kind of end up liking putting base colors down of traditional paint in lighter tones that I know I'm going to then put the express colors or the contrast colors over. I see that developing in my painting style that I like doing, which I didn't do on these, but I wish I had. So whatever. I think that's probably what I did on the first batch of goblins. These sculpts are really awesome. They're super fun. They have a lot of personality. The Squigs are fun. The crazy sort of Brian Froudish sort of armor, with the big swoopy points and stuff is fun. They're all just fun. It's great. It's a fun time. And I'm just having fun at the hobby desk. That's what the hobby desk is for, right? That's correct. It is. Move along. Donuts are in the back. Donuts and beer is a meme for this channel alone, right? Just in our little encapsulated little tabletop alchemy verse. Donuts and beer. And I never actually have donuts and beer at the same time. I might have them in quick succession though, but don't get me wrong. You might have a donut and then have a beer. That's okay. Painting some miniatures that have great personality and just having some fun with them, it's super fun. It's self-explanatory. There are definitely some other miniature lines that I think have some very fun miniatures that I would certainly like to purchase and try painting up. What comes to mind right away is the game is called Moonstone. If I was not the lazy slug that you'd see in front of you, I'd go to the internet and look it up and then edit that in to here. But I just like to be authentic And that's where the value is, right? You want to see the real me. And the real me is a lazy son of a bitch. So, I'm not going to look it up. I think it's called Moonstone. I'll drop a link to it in the thing down there, the comments, but I'm sure most of you know or have heard of Moonstone. But yeah, they have some, but their sculpts are very fun, very cartoony, very stylized. Like their human characters are super over the top, cartoonish. I have seen them in person, the actual miniatures. I've seen them at conventions before. I actually saw them at Origins Game Fair like 2 years ago, and they're all resin. Very nice, clean casts, very detailed, but very small, like true 28 millimeter. Not like the heroic sort of scale that we get from GW and a lot of other companies, sort of where the details are a bit larger and the figures themselves are a bit larger. These are actually pretty small and finely detailed, and they kind of freaked me out a little bit when I looked at them. I was like, geez, I don't know if I have the ability to physically paint these up to par. So, and they're a little bit pricey because they're a boutique company and they're a small batch, but they do look like fun. They look like fun to paint. And I've actually got a bunch of miniatures, not a bunch. I've got a handful of miniatures from Dwarf Forge. Man, I get emails from him all the time, and it's one guy, and he sculpts all these dwarves, but he sculpted some human figures too, and I've got some from there. Dwarven Forge? Durgan Forge. I knew it started with a D. Durgan Forge. I've got a handful of characters from them. The dwarves are awesome. They're not as cartoony as the Moonstone stuff, but they're very, very cool. A lot of personality and a lot of interesting ideas in the Durgan Forge stuff. And someday I got to go through and clean all reorganize my hobby area, because it's a giant mess and there's miniatures everywhere and I can't find stuff. But I gotta collect all those dwarves together so I can paint those up as like a unit, because I think they'll be very fun. So yeah, I can't really imagine that I've actually am showing you any finished models here, so I'm just gonna gloss past that and just assume we're gonna finish them up in the next video. And I will just leave you with yeah, go paint something for fun, just for fun. Don't worry about anything other than having fun slapping paint on a miniature. And if you don't paint minis, you write stuff, go write something for fun. Write a one-page character description just for fun. Why not? It's fun. See ya.